I'm Carmen, I'm a friend. Oh.
I'm Carrie, I'm a friend.
Madison, I'm a friend.
Caitlin, I'm his arch nemesis.
Ethan, I'm a friend. I'm Hayden Reinert, this is my demonstrative speech. Alright. So imagine being hungry, happens to everybody. You know, smelling all the good things coming out of the kitchen, but you've only got a few minutes before you're off to your next commitment. Well, imagine this. A perfect recipe, fit for any time constraint, and you only need a few basic skills to get her made. Today I'm going to show you how to make LA caviar. Now, this is one of the best chip dips, in my opinion, that you can make. So, first, we're going to go over the ingredients. So for the dressing, we're going to have 2 tablespoons of sugar, right here. We're going to have a half teaspoon of pepper and salt. We're going to have 6 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. And then we're going to have 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now the recipe itself calls for a little more, but you can get by with a little less, and that makes it a little healthier also. Now this recipe comes from Lulu Buffett's cookbook, A Taste of the Gulf Coast Good Life. And so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first we're going to make the dressing, so we'll get a cup and a fork to mix it with. So you're just going to dump your 4 ingredients that I mentioned earlier into your cup. So you'll put your vinegar and your oil, okay, and then your salt and pepper, and your sugar. Now the reason you use the fork instead of a spoon is because when you put the sugar in and it gets wet, it's going to want to clump up. So you use the fork kind of like a whisk, and that kind of breaks it up and helps it dissolve. And you're probably going to have to stir for a bit because the oil and the vinegar aren't really going to want to mix. They're going to stay separated. So you'll have to kind of get that together. And then you probably also want to stir it again before you put it in with the main salad. So that ought to be good for now. You can see it's kind of a uniform color. If you look underneath, there's no big chunks that have just settled. So that'll be something you want to look for also. Alright, so next we'll go ahead and make our the bulk ingredients. And so for that, we're going to need some chopped onion.
Bailey Orman, please come to the office. Bailey Orman, please come to the office.
And the little bits that are in the bottom, you can use a spatula to get out. That'll help, so you're not getting your fingers messy and you don't waste ingredients. You'll also need some green peppers. Chunk those up really small so you're not getting huge chunks on your chip later on. That way it'll be all uniform. Again, use the spatula to scrape it out. And finally, you're going to need some black-eyed peas. Now, if you want to add some color to this, you can put some yellow or red peppers in there also. It doesn't just have to be green. And depending on what season you're in, you could add some parsley or those types of greens to really add a little more flavor. It's still a little early for that, so I didn't get any of that. And then you'll get your spoon and just stir this together. It's really basic and simple. Just enough to get it all mixed so when you eat it later, you're getting a bite of everything and not 1 or 2 of the same thing. Really balance it all out. When you start, you also want to make sure that you have a big enough bowl. Because some of this stuff, especially later when we add the dressing, it can be complicated to try and stir it without spilling over. If you have a small bowl, always estimate a little bigger than you think you'll need and get that bowl. Alright, so we get it all stirred up there. And then just super simple. Set that aside, grab your dressing, maybe give it another stir, get all this stuff suspended again. And then just pour that over the ingredients in the other bowl. There you go. Now again, you can use the spatula if you want and get the last drops out, because this is the good part. This is what really adds to it. Alright, we should be done with that now. So then you'll just grab your spoon again, give it another good stir to get that dressing all over everything. This is the important part because you really want want it to get all over. If you let it set for too long, it might end up sinking to the bottom, so you'll have to give it another stir or two. But it won't be too bad. So just get it all mixed up there. Even coating on everything. When you serve this, if you have a big bowl that you're going to put it like into a serving plate, you don't want to use a slotted spoon because all of your dressing and goodie will be down in the bottom, and that won't help. You want to make sure you get that with it. Alright. There we go. That should be good right there. So then you're going to plate it to make it look good. Because, well, this isn't a terrible thing to just set on the table. It can be better. So I just have gotten a simple plate with a few chips, since that's what you'll be eating it with. And you'll put those off to one side. And grab your spatula or spoon or whatever you've already dirtied. And just put a little right there on the side. Now, like I mentioned earlier, if it's more of a summertime, you could add a little parsley, or if you live somewhere that is tropical and they're growing that year-round, you're good to go. Just kind of, put whatever you have on it. It's fine the way it is. You don't have to add any of that extra stuff, but it does add a little, pop to it. Set it apart from all the other chip dips out there. So then, as you take your first bite, you'll know it was worth a few dirty dishes. With only a few ingredients and basic skills needed, anybody can whip this up in a few minutes. Not only is this a great tasting option, sorry, but I mean it's healthy too, because we cut a little bit of the oil out, and the vinegar is really the only bad part other than that, and it's not terrible. So as long as you use low sodium chips, that'll help keep that down. But enjoy. So it's perfect for any occasion.